And we're live. Thank you all so much for joining. My name is Joseph. We're doing another Help Desk Live. I have Steve from IQ Workshop and Costas from Ex Machina Engineering, and we're going to be taking anything you want to ask us today. I want to wish everybody a very happy Friday the 13th.
Oh man, oh,
I,
I just got scared. Oh man.
I stole that from Costas, but I just had to show it, and then I couldn't even continue. It was so funny. Um, but we we are happy to join. We're going to be doing a maintenance giveaway as well, and so don't let me forget. If I start to close and I've forgotten, you got to tell me in the chat that we're going to be doing a maintenance giveaway, and I have to remember that. We're also going to be taking a look at the new weldment features that are going to be coming out in V29 release. So we're going to have an update to see some of the new functionality there as well. Let us know in the chat where you're from. I'm seeing Sweden. I'm seeing Canada. I'm seeing all sorts of cool places. Oh, Kansas. Love Kansas. Snowy Michigan. I'm in short sleeves in Arizona here, so I guess you might be jealous of me until the summer comes. And we'll get started with whatever questions that you guys have. Let us know in the chat. In the meantime, I'm not seeing any questions coming in yet. And we got Missouri. Cool. Hey, Crete. Yep, gotta love the Crete. I did see a question come in on the forums that I thought might be interesting to cover live. I'm actually about to make a YouTube video about this as well. But since we're all live, someone asked how to make a twisted sweep along a 3D path, which is pretty cool.
That's a good.
So think of some stuff to keep us busy in the meantime, and I'll go through a quick way to make this. Now, Alibre doesn't yet have a supported purpose-built twist-on sweep function, but that doesn't mean that we can't do it. So if I create a new part, and maybe on my XY plane, if I ignore orientation, I'll create a spline here. I kind of like how splines are not fully linear, or not constant radius, I should say, and not linear. And so it kind of represents perhaps some of the most difficult paths that we can go on. And I'm not really constraining my sketches. So in a serious project, of course, we would constrain our stuff. But here, if I make a kind of difficult path in 3D space, and then we'll not extrude rather, but cut through that, through all. There we go. Now I can take this edge, we'll go to a 3D sketch, and we're going to say just make a projected 3D sketch of that edge so that we have that crazy path. Now I can go to my surfaces, and I'm just going to delete all these faces because I've used them for what I need, right? Just making a crazy 3D path. Now, what do we do to make a twisted sweep along this 3D path? The first thing that we can do is I can create a plane. Of course, I have control of where along this path I want to place this plane. I'll put it right at the beginning. And then I'm going to make a 2D sketch along this plane. And with a center rectangle, I can make this a square that is equal on each side. Maybe I'll say 0.25, right? Maybe I'll go small. Maybe not too small. One might be better. And strain that. Maybe I'll give that a distance of 0.05. So I've got a square. A square has 4 corners. And so I'm going to be planning on making 4 different sweeps. We can do a hexagon if we want 6, an octagon if we want 8, whatever we need. But 4 is plenty for what I'm doing here. I'm going to make a path pattern. We're going to pattern this extrude down this path. And just like that. Maybe I'm going to be a little bit smaller there. So we can tighten it up if we want a sharper angle, or loosen it up if we want a shallower twist angle. And now I can simply run to my surfaces and say convert to surface. All right, this is where the magic begins, although I hope it won't be too tedious for the live. I'm going to pick a corner here. I'm going to go with this corner right here, and I'm just going to go clockwise to pick the next corner over clockwise, and the next one, and the next one. And we're just kind of going clockwise over our various squares. You can start to see what we're doing here. We're creating a twist right around there. Now, I don't know if we want to see the whole thing or not, because you're just watching me be clicking corners 4 times in a row. But if I deactivate my sketch, create a plane, again, right at the beginning of this 3D path, and activate a 2D sketch on the plane that we just created, I can make our sweep cross section. Of course, just one. And then we sweep down this path. Just like that, we have one of 4 things that create that twisted path. Naturally, I could just do that again 3 more times. Don't know how entertaining that would be, but you do get the concept that it's pretty easy to make a twisted, braided thing along a 3D path. Now, I haven't looked at the comments yet, but hopefully that is going to be an interesting way to start out. What do you guys think?
That was first of all, that's great. That's a cool little trick. It's easier than I thought it would have been. And nice one thinking that up, Joseph. That was a cool little solution. That's pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah, this was a question on the forum, and it's really great to visit the forum, especially when there's kind of a tough how do you do that kind of thing on the model.
Yeah. So Cow Tools just ask, can you do a circular array with it? I kind of asked about that as well. It's not a long straight line. If it was, you could.
Yep.
But it's not a long straight line.
That is an excellent question, especially because the boss black belt himself asked the same thing. So I think you're on the right track. But
yeah. Yes, but I do have a black belt, but it's made of leather, and it's for holding my trousers up. So take that for what it's worth.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Mr. Miyagi quote. That does.
It does sound like that.
I love it. So we got a question from Ian Dunlop. Is there a way to have a title block fields that propagate across all the sheets? That's a property of the drawing, not the part or assembly. Hoping that makes sense.
That's a great question. As far as I know, all the properties run back to something that's related to the part or the assembly. But Costas, you might know something here. I think you spend more time in drawings than I do.
Yeah. Not yet. I'm working on that, but I do think that you can have in a title block, you can have custom properties show up. So if you make a custom property, I think you can enter it in as a value in a title block. I still have to check that, but I would expect that that's the way to do it. Now, I mean, you could have, if it's one of the properties. Let me show you what I mean. Right. Let me open up a part, and if we go to my screen, yeah. So when you have a part, right, and this is the Ogre Flight that I did in my latest video, right? 3D flat pattern. So
video, folks.
Yeah. I think that it's it's not a very common problem, but I think it's a great way to solve it. So now you can see you have all of these properties, right? Core properties, port number, description, version comment. All of these can definitely be imported into the title block of a drawing. I'm not sure if you can import the custom properties, which you can. Oh, sorry, you weren't seeing this. Sorry, working with two screens. So core properties, all of these can definitely be in the title block, right? For sure, that's all. That's checked. Description, port number, version comment, you can do that as well. They can be in the bill of materials. You can link it. Joseph has a great little trick on how to get the weight of a part in the title block. And that's through the bill of materials. You can link these things. Now, custom properties. So custom properties, you can give it a name. So I'll name this custom property, and I'll name it custom property. I mean, so imaginative, and I can't spell. So I'll add the property, right? Now, I'm not sure if you can bring that into the title block. I suspect you can. I'll have to get back to you on that, either me or Joseph through a video. And that's how you delete it. There you go.
Yep. Custom properties is probably the best way to go there.
Yeah, probably custom. Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
I can see Way Too Common's been doing I think our twisted sweep trick for a while now to get some abstract shapes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, spreadsheet. What was that spreadsheet?
There you go.
Yeah. Yep, you can do that.
Yeah, that could be an interesting thing
There
to show too.
There are linear algebra equations, right, that can give you displacement of a point along and around a path, right? It's a transformation matrix, and Excel can handle that math. If you see my Excel for Engineers video, at the end, I do an example of G code, and you can see that I cut, plasma cut a few plasma cut a few holes for a flange, and if you see the entrance and the exit for the plasma holes seems to rotate around with the position of the hole, and that was done through a transformation matrix. That was handled by Excel. So once you get that deep in it, you can do some amazing stuff. And the beauty of it is you can just then import the CSV file with the points into Alibre and get your trajectory. So that'd be another way to do it if you wanted absolute precision.
Yeah. Now, this brings up a great point. A lot of people don't, I think, follow how to import points into the part environment in Alibre. So I hurried and typed a spreadsheet of random points here and saved it as a CSV. Maybe I can hurry and import those. If anyone is interested in seeing that, I'll go to where do I go? I have not imported points in so long here.
It's a script, Joseph. It's a script that ships with the software. You don't need to make it.
It does. There is a built-in function too. But yeah, we can do it the script way too.
Is there? I don't think there is. I haven't. Wow, you caught me off guard here. I don't think.
Yeah. I have a video on it too. Of course, this is why I make videos, because my memory is like a sieve apparently. But yeah, we want to do it the script way first. That'd be really cool. So go down to examples and import, export. No.
And if we can just hide the comment because it's blocking the.
Oh yes, we should.
Yeah, there you go. So that people see how scripts work. Scripts in Alibre are more powerful than you think, guys. It's all done in Python. Easy to learn, easy to write code in it. The API, while not as extensive as perhaps Inventor or I don't know, like Creo, it's pretty extensive, and you can do some really, really cool stuff with it. and there is provisions to write code in C# and make an add-on. So that's the beauty of Alibre, is it's like 20% of the price for 90% of the tools of SolidWorks, but then you can code the other 10% if you're so inclined. You can do whatever you want with it.
That's right. Now,
so isn't it in the utilities? It's in the utilities folder. It's oh man, don't you have it? I think I do have it.
yeah,
I think I
don't
have
worry,
it.
I'm almost there.
It's in the help file as well. So maybe we should show that as well after you're done. If you hit F1, guys,
There we go.
and you go
so we go to 3D Sketch, and then we can say Insert from File. We browse, and then I, of course, have to jump over to my desktop. And then I have tons of stuff on my desktop, so I'll go ahead and filter it. Where's .csv, and there's my random points file, right? So I can open that, and I can say, do I want to run a spline through the points in order? Do I want to just connect them with lines, or just import them as points themselves? I'm going to do a spline so we can really visualize it. And there are the points that I mapped out on my CSV file. Sorry for the delay, folks. It took me just a second to remember where that was because I haven't done it in a long time. But yeah, hopefully that's pretty cool.
So with the CSV file then, and how do you describe the points? Are you putting in like X, Y, Z coordinates?
Exactly. Yeah, and this doesn't have it, but this would be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So
does the file need to have? Yeah. So I was about to ask this because that file is just raw numbers in column A, column B, column C. There are no headers.
Yeah.
So which column is which axes?
It should be X, Y, and Z. So A, B, C, X, Y, Z kind of rhymes.
But
will it break if you? Sorry, Costas, go ahead.
No. What I was saying is you can actually set up a CSV file that is automatically, like Excel will update it based on calculations on another spreadsheet, for example. So you can do that. Are you about to ask if you update the CSV, does the curve update?
I wasn't, but that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
No, it's like a one-time thing. It's not parametrically linked, unfortunately.
Is it? Okay, still, it's pretty cool.
So I'm assuming that if I was to put in column headers, that's going to break the import. It needs to be with no headers. I'm just looking from somebody who's never used this ever before and has some Excel skills. One of the first things you do is like you title your columns or you title your rows so you know what data you've got in front of you. So it's just understanding the schema, the formatting that you need to apply to this.
Yeah, let's give that a try. So I added some headers and saved it out as a CSV here. Let me see if I can grab that.
I always like to throw Joseph a curveball or two.
Or more.
Yeah, it looks like our OK is grayed out. So the headers are not importable. But if you just have the sheet with the coordinates on it, it'll import.
So just the values, no headers. Cool.
Right.
And also because I saw a comment here, we should also point out that there is a script that allows equation input, and I can see it on the top of that list, the equation sketcher. And it will, you will input an equation, and it will create a 2D sketch with it. Right?
That's right. This is a fun one.
Yeah. So you can do pretty well stuff with that one, right? Like get a sinusoidal curve going or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a weird one. That's going to be a weird one.
I'm trying to do a really weird one, but hopefully it's not too weird here.
Does that even calculate? Doesn't? No. That's a simple sign, isn't it? I'm not sure it's going to calculate
Darn it.
because
Okay.
the x, yeah, the x cancels with the 1/x, I think.
Yeah, darn it. I was trying to see if I could do something that would be slightly damping. I'll just try it again here. I'll go simple this time, I promise. The script did tell me it errored out there, so I'll just do x times sine of x and see how much that grows. On the plane, we'll choose yz. We'll end it at...
That's a divergent one, by the way, right? That diverges.
Yeah.
X range. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah. So you can do that, and now that we have AI in our lives, for better or worse, it's not very difficult, right, to take that script and add the third dimension to it, and then you have a 3D equation. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one.
There's your cooling
There
fins
you
or
go.
something. I don't know.
Oh man, that's yeah, exactly. So you can do pretty weird stuff, and you can definitely get the third dimension in there going, or control the x direction with one function and the y direction with a second function, which is exactly what you need to draw the involute curve, right, for a spur gear. So you can get that one dimension higher, that equation sketcher, with AI pretty easily. And then you can do some really cool stuff with it. Script in Alibre is really underrated.
It is. So I think this is the question that we were answering here. I created spreadsheets to math out exact points. No, that's not the question. We got off on a tangent, but we were answering a question here.
Yeah.
There's a
that
few questions in the queue now, right? So you padded long.
Yeah,
You
let's go.
padded well.
Yeah.
Let's start unpadding now.
Yes. Oh, and if I didn't mention it in the beginning, Adam might be joining us as well from Weekday Weekend. He was helping his girlfriend, and once he's done with that, he can probably get on with us. So just to let you all know, he might be joining us. We have a challenge here. Create a helix along your demonstrated example to represent a twisted ready rod or threaded bolt. If we have a chance, I want to try to do that because that would be really cool. Of course, we have our thread tool that you can just click on a cylinder and thread anything, but this would be really cool academically. So if I have time, I want to jump into that. Yes, this is a good one. It is the new Alibre CAD. Is it possible to animate movement along an S, J, or U-shaped hole or slot through which a slide pin passes? I can't think of a way to do that currently, if I'm honest. I don't know if you have anything, Costas.
Could you repeat that? Because is it possible to animate movement along S, J, or U-shaped hole? So if you look, if you search the forums, right, there is an add-on which does the following. It drives a couple of constraints. So you create your constraints with like spacing or offset or whatever, and it changes those constraints and then snaps a picture, a PNG. That's a feature that Alibre already has, exporting a PNG. So what it does is it just drives the assembly for a small step. It grabs a PNG, a little more, grabs a PNG, and then makes a GIF out of it. But that is the closest to actually animating an assembly you can get in Alibre. It is in you'll find it in the forums, that add-on. It's really, really cool and interesting. And if you need to do that, it's a neat way of doing it. I've never used it because I've never had the need for that. But yeah, it's there.
This is an interesting one. So I'm kind of wondering, just off the top of my head here. Okay, so what if you had the sketch that was a kind of S shape like this, and then I chain selected, and then I made it into a reference point, and I grabbed. This would be the almost like a fit spline function, right? And I'm just going to do this real quick and dirty here, but if I make a spline follow along that, then could I get a pin, right? And I extruded this. And what this does is it follows this arc of a constant radius really closely. And then if I extrude a slot that has the spline that makes it just one face, could I set something circular tangent to that one spline face so it follows the path? And it would come down to, can you set something tangent to something that is a spline derived face in Alibre? Not sure. I almost want to do just a quick little test.
I think I have already checked that, and you can't.
Okay, yeah. I would have a lot of confidence that you would have checked that already, because you do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Because I did try and make that exactly that. So you can do that with a slot that is either straight or arced, like an arc, but you cannot do that exactly, and that is the problem with it. And I think it was in a discussion in the forum, and Harold was the one that there's a workaround to this, and Harold L was the one that thought about it, but I don't remember it now. And it'd be cool to do an example of it right now. Yeah, while I'm researching another potential question we've got here.
This is great. This is why we have multiple people, so that we can have multiple researches going on.
Yeah.
We got someone from New Zealand. Love our New Zealand friends.
Yep.
This is an interesting one. How do you make a cam lifter follow camshaft lobe in an assembly? That is a video in progress, and so I made a little preview.
Yes. Okay.
So I can show you that it works here. What was that? Dynamic spring. So there's this video made by a particularly charismatic and attractive YouTuber. Have no idea who this guy is. And at the very end, there's a little preview for something similar to that. Let's see here. Right there.
Good looking guy.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know who he is.
You're thanking me for him, I imagine.
Yes,
it's like accepting an Oscar for somebody who's after this. I get it.
In this, basically what we do is we do a design in context, right? So we have this cam lifter, and then we have this part that we make in the context of the assembly, and we say the sketch that defines this arc is tangent to this lifter. Now, this may actually apply to that S-shaped slot question too. I make a spline that follows this the arcs that I have, just like we saw. And so this is actually a spline that's following some construction arcs to make this lifter. And then I have this arc set tangent to the spline. And when something moves, the assembly rebuilds and it updates the position of that lifter. That's how that's working. I don't have the video on that yet, but that's how you would make it in Alibre to be able to follow like that.
That's about the only way you could do it. Yep.
This image that you're seeing is actually a bunch of screenshots put together to be an animation, but what it would look like in assembly is you would turn this cam and then this would snap into a new position. And it looks like somebody just joined. I have to navigate back to. Okay, so let me know in the comments if that answers your question. There we go. Oh, and we've got weekday weekend.
There you go.
I'm gonna get weekday weekend in the chat here. All right. Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, Adam.
Good to see everybody.
Hey, good to see you too. There you go. Hey, Adam.
Ta-da!
Hey. All right.
So
Chat here.
I want to kind of see if I can make a sketch-based design and context thing of something that would follow that slot with that spline, because that's how we've got that cam follower to work.
Yeah,
So
that method will work. What Joseph just showed would work, but it's not done with constraints, right? It's one level up, one level deeper, if you like.
all right. Yes,
It's
I
like
can
a
make it
dream
work.
within a dream in Inception.
I can make that work one way or another in Alibre. So I don't know if I have the time to try to do it live, but let's make a YouTube video on that. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. We'll make a video of that.
Joseph, I
slot
believe it is
follower.
using your wrong microphone.
Thank you. You know, Adam,
What?
you keep me honest with my microphones here.
Sounds like a
Me?
webcam mic to me. Joseph.
How's that?
There you go. I think
Okay.
that's the right one.
It always switches to my webcam mic without telling me. It's
Yep.
terrible. Thank you, Adam.
Joseph,
Yeah,
I'm gonna grab a question here to call back to the Excel, and I think it's important
I
that
also
we
want
grab
to
this
answer
one.
a question in a bit. Yeah, but go ahead.
So just to validate, when working with spreadsheets, you have to use Excel. Other spreadsheet software does not work. I would argue that you are outputting a CSV file. So providing that the software you're using outputs a CSV file in the correct schema or format that Alibre is looking for, you could use anything. You could use Notepad. You could use, right? It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
Excel as long as it outputs the CSV format. Is that Joseph? Is that correct? Oh,
yes, I believe so. I believe I've made one of those things out of LibreOffice Calc, but Costas, I think you had something too.
I have a note here. So what Steve just said is precisely correct for the point import tool, right? So if you're so inclined, you can solve the you can write the function, get the points on a piece of paper, and then write it with Notepad. However, there is an Excel add-on for Alibre that works with Alibre Atom as well, which costs like $200-300. And what that does is it can inject parameter values into the software from Excel. Now that is only officially supported for Excel. Okay, and that is you can get Alibre Atom to perform as if you had access to global parameters, which is awesome. However, an asterisk on an asterisk, there we go again. Steve's laughing. There is Alibre Swiss, the reseller for Alibre in Switzerland, has made an add-on that will perform the same function for LibreOffice Calc. But I haven't tested it, and I cannot speak to the stability.
Yes, and just to be clear, the add-on is free and Atom costs $200. So,
as of time of recording, there is a checkout coupon available, though. At least as of right now. So
that's true.
There's a couple bucks off.
I'm sending one of our questions to development here, so give me a moment while I do that.
Okay. In the meantime, can I just answer this if you like? If we can just switch to my screen, right? So, for example, let's say that we've got this cylinder, right? We have this is the flat pattern, and this is the cylinder, right? The question is, does Alibre have the EU standard symbol for drawings? Well, in the EU, we use the ISO world standards. And if you just click up here, you can create a world node. Now, a node on the world node, click this first. It works a bit more intuitively. And then you put your line here, and then you just so you have the near side and the far side. As we know, the near side is below the line, far side is above the line, and you can, let's say, yep, and then we'll have like let's do flat, and then a root opening of 0.5 mil. Now on the welding symbol, we have the ANSI standards and the ISO standards. So, and we even have the spot welding symbols from the Japanese standard. But like single V. Yeah, for example, right? Something like that. And what else could you do? I don't remember exactly how the standard works. So this, I think that this is the continuous length, and this is the gap between weld seams. If somebody can correct me, I think that's how it works. This is the continuous length of one seam, and this is the gap between seams. And you can have all around, right? You can mark it as a field. Well, all around doesn't really make sense here, but you could say that this needs to be welded on the field, not in the factory, and all that. So you've got a lot of control, and then you go to the far side and you do it all over. But you've got a lot of control on how to make your weld symbols, right? And you've got all of the ISO symbols that I've ever needed. But please bear in mind that I'm not specifying welds all that often.
So Costas,
I do it occasionally.
For the uninitiated, aka
yes,
me.
Okay.
Would I be correct in thinking that essentially what we're doing here, we're drawing up a part that we're going to hand off to a manufacturer, and we need to talk in a language that they understand to how to actually assemble or to create this part.
Exactly. That's the correct way to think about it, right? So this is the standard way to make products industrially, or for example, if you're a design house that sends it out to a machine shop or a fab shop, right? There is a agreed upon language, which is the standards, the American, the ISO standard, and you can even get the tolerances, for example. Okay, there you go. You can set your control frames, tolerances, whatever you need. Might need to be like surface following and whatever. So all of that. Alibre was born for industrial manufacturing. So I've yet to find something in the tolerance or weld annotation space that I needed and I couldn't find. Again, there are more knowledgeable people out there than me, but I've done quite a few of these and I've never had an issue. Yeah.
Thanks, Costas. That's a great way to present it. So as far as I know, with weld symbols, right, you have ANSI, you have ISO, and they're so similar, but if you flip the symbol, it means the opposite thing in some ways, but just kind of gives you the way to build a weld symbol that has the ISO accommodation. So as far as I know, it should accommodate what you need, whether you're in the States or in Europe.
And I'm guessing it's probably worth, if you're uncertain as to which standard to use, reach out to the manufacturer that you're going to use and ask them the standard.
I think that's always great advice. Yep.
That's top. That's a top tip right there, and that's also a tip if you're making any sheet metal part, guys. Right? Bend radii and reliefs and all that. Most shops have a set of rules for that, right? For example, you're using like a 2 millimeter thick sheet, then you'll be using a bending tool that has a 1.2 millimeter radius, right? And you need to know that, because if you design differently, and they might even give you K factors, and if you design that differently, you might have small differences in dimensions in the final part. So yeah, top tip there by Steve. Before you design, get in touch with your manufacturer, ask him how he wants things done. It'll save you time
one
and
of
money.
those things that they, just like you, they would much rather you ask and get it right than have everybody waste time and waste materials and waste time on their machines printing something that's, or I say printing like we're 3D printing, manufacturing something that isn't going to work or isn't going to fit or whatever it is. So
I mean, a single part is one thing, but if you've got a complex assembly that has hundreds, if not thousands, of parts, can you imagine? You're going to give somebody a bad day having to go through and audit all of that.
Yeah.
You're going to give somebody a bad day having to fire you from the company.
Wasting hundreds of hours on their nice CNC and having a whole bunch of material that is now wasted. And
Gotcha. We have another one. Hi, and happy weekend to all. What does Alibre cost, and what are the main advantages over free CAD software or free CAD software like FreeCAD? That took me a second to think about. So if I head over here on the website, right, you have 20% off currently. So take 20% off of 200 or whatever.
Today's date, at least.
Yes.
Right now.
As of the recording of this video, just enter Spring 20 and. So $199 for the hobby level license. You buy that now, you keep that forever. That's the lifetime price. You don't have to pay another cent again after that. Alibre Design Pro is currently $1,000 minus 20%, of course. And then the Expert is $2,000. And then there's a little matrix here that you can compare the features between every level of license. And it also can ship with CAM if you'd like to have milling or turning software. We worked with EasyCam for that. We had a live stream with Chris from EasyCam in our last live stream, so check our YouTube video if you'd like to see us answer questions with Chris on CAM stuff. And those are prices, again, buy it once, keep it forever prices, lifetime licenses for CAM as well. So hopefully that answers the price thing. As far as FreeCAD, we might have a FreeCAD user in our midst, and I've been a long-time FreeCAD user myself. I got nothing bad to say about FreeCAD. I think it's really cool. I would say, based on my experience of making YouTube videos and things for FreeCAD, I think assemblies are a big advantage if you go with Alibre. I'm pulling up a mechanism in progress. I'm right in the middle of making it, but Kostas, you might like this because it's a Greek mechanism, the Antikythera mechanism. Am I saying that right?
Antikythera mechanism.
Antikythera. Thank you. This is one of many reasons why we need you on the stream here.
Yes, the Greek pronunciation. There you go.
Yeah, he's got to translate for us.
Yeah.
Antikythera. I have to memorize saying that. So
it's a little island. It's a little island in the southwest Aegean, and that's where that mechanism was found on the seafloor, and that's why it's called that. And it's a mechanism that it's basically a clock that can also do months, the ancient Greek calendar, position of celestial bodies. It's a pretty advanced calculator. And bear in mind it was done, 2,500 years ago. So I think Joseph is modeling it with spur gears, but it wasn't made with spur gears. It was made with straight flanked teeth gears, and it was manufactured by filing the teeth. So you can imagine that one of these mechanisms was egregiously expensive back then, and only the really high society people had it. There's an amazing YouTube channel called ClickSpring, right? And he has done a lot of work remanufacturing an Antikythera mechanism, and it's amazing to watch. I'm telling you, it's just therapy right? Watching that guy take, bronze and end up with a gear, or perfectly polish something with the same tools they were using in ancient Greece and ancient Rome is like pure therapy. So highly recommended.
Costas, if only Joseph had asked his manufacturer what type of gears, he would have saved all of those hours.
If he had gotten in his time machine, went back to ancient Greece and asked.
And just to point out, not to over egg the point, Joseph, on the licensing cost piece, you mean to tell me there's no monthly fee for the software?
None. I mean, there's a subscription offering if you really want to have paid off every month, but no, it's a lifetime license. So yeah,
we need to clarify that a little bit, because the prices you just showed there, Joseph, are for the US. Here in Europe, you get Alibre through resellers, and prices are slightly different, not by much, mind you, but slightly different. And look, the value for money is like nothing else. It is truly like nothing else. I said it a little while ago in the stream today. Alibre is really so. Alibre Design Expert is 20% of the price of SolidWorks Standard. Okay, with I say 90% of the tools, but that's not even true, right? It's probably got all of the tools of Standard. It's missing a few tools from Professional. Now that we're getting weldments in Alibre as well, you might miss a bit of surfacing in Alibre, but if you work professionally, even that, yeah, but still, if you work professionally with organic shapes and surfacing, just get Alibre and a Rhino, and you're still like 25% the price of SolidWorks, and you have a lot more capabilities. So seriously now, I mean, yeah, that's one asterisk I wanted to add. The other one is Joseph is an absolute master in FreeCAD. He's really good at it, guys. I mean, he's climbed the mountain. He's at the top, and he's looking down on us, right? But yeah, you really have. But I'm not a huge fan, as Joseph knows, right? I respect it immensely. If you're a hobbyist, maybe okay. Hobbies are for killing time. You will definitely do that with FreeCAD. You'll kill a lot of time. You'll massacre time with FreeCAD. But for any professional work, it's just not there. It's not there yet.
Coming soon, and I will say soon because I don't have a time frame. But Joseph and I just recorded a video last night that will be coming to my channel eventually about that whole discussion of should I go with the free CAD package or should I go with the paid CAD package. So check for that eventually on the Weekday Weekend channel, and that will kind of explore that topic in detail.
Can I add my 2 cents around that? I'm hoping I'm not going to steal Adam's thunder from his video, right? You cut this bit out of the live stream if it does. On the
we'll edit that out. We'll edit
it
out.
Right?
Don't worry about it.
So my day job, I work in IT, and there are a lot of open source variants of software that you can have available to you. And from a large organization perspective, licensing can really nail you to the wall in addition to the costs of the software. So sometimes looking at open source software, it can be quite appealing. And from a purely financial perspective, if the software is capable, then sometimes it can make sense. But the question you've got to ask yourself is, what happens when something goes wrong? What happens when you need support?
Get good.
Now, right?
It's good.
So if you've
Get
got an
good.
in-house,
Trademark.
if you yeah, right. If you've got an in-house support team that is like, top dollar, then to some extent you can go that route. But very often, as organizations outsource that capability to the supplier. So if you're investing in an open source software and something goes south, and you're investing that support to the supplier is a bunch of, it's a community. It's a bunch of people giving their time freely to contribute to them. If you've got an SLA, a service level agreement, you've got to get this fixed within an hour. That's not going to happen on a forum post, right?
Unless you're lucky.
So yeah, unless you're lucky. But the reality is when you're paying for a piece of software, you're not only paying for the software, but you're paying for the support that sits behind it, and so that's my 2 cents on open source.
And can I just add to that, as I show this message, because we need to show these things from time to time, but can I just add to that? When I switched to Alibre, right, a large part of getting me going and helping me with project that large projects for me that were on the line was the Greek reseller, right? Sitaras George, great guy. At one point we had a phone call that was 2.5 hours long, right? Great guy, really helpful. On the flip side, right, one of the most well-known YouTubers for FreeCAD just put out a video. I'm not going to say the name of the channel because I don't agree with the video he's put out, but just put out a video, and the video is basically can basically be summarized by "Git good." No, it's not FreeCAD. You're not. Yeah, you're not doing it right. Well, you know what? If I'm a design engineer with like 15 years of experience, and I've went through all of the other CAD systems, and I was able to perform in every single other CAD system, and I cannot perform competitively on FreeCAD, it's FreeCAD's problem. It's not mine. And it's a shame because, guys, FreeCAD is a gem in the rough, right? It's amazing. The way you can reference parameters in FreeCAD is second to none, right? But you can't, if you intend to make money with it, you are not going to be competitive. I work as a freelance mechanical engineer. If I take 5 hours to design something that my competitors do in 1 hour, I'm priced out of the market. It's as simple as that, and there's no arguing.
Well, I think we've really analyzed this question pretty heavily, but maybe I'll circle back.
Sorry, it triggers me, that subject. I'm really sorry. That was all my fault.
Glad you signposted that. I didn't spot that at all.
This is a model that I made in FreeCAD, and I think it shows you can make some really cool things in FreeCAD, and I really like this one. So I think FreeCAD has a lot of features that it offers. There is a workbench for finite element analysis, which can get very expensive in most other platforms that you get for free in FreeCAD. There's a workbench that does CAM toolpaths, and you can start sending code to your CNC machine to actually make the stuff. There's a workbench for surfacing, sheet metal, all kinds of stuff. And so it's a great companion to whatever CAD you're using. And I think it works as a standalone modeler as well when you want to make cool things like this. I think what a lot of
Joseph
people,
just got me there. Joseph just got me there because I do have videos on my channel where I use FreeCAD for finite element analysis and CAM. Right?
Absolutely.
And I do often say that FreeCAD is an amazing software for anything but CAD. So if it was called free engineering, maybe that'd be less of a problem. I don't know, but yeah.
I think where a lot of users might see benefits from switching is, and this is in no way meant to be a criticism of FreeCAD because I don't want to criticize all of the efforts that people have freely given to the world. When you go to the history tree, right, it gets a little bit complicated because I've had to create various groups of different places in the tree because I had to reference things from the part workbench versus the part design workbench, and switching some of the order of the items in the tree may not be very convenient if you have to revise your design in the future. And then the assembly workbenches in FreeCAD are still developing, and we're seeing tons of progress. And it's very easy to make things like this in Alibre currently. And so when you're in a production environment, time is of the essence. You need easy assemblies, or you have to do quick revisions on your design. It makes it a lot easier. And so I think just the groundwork of straightforward UI is really beneficial.
And again, Joseph knows this better than anybody on the planet, quite possibly. Top-down design in FreeCAD, right? It'll drive you up the wall. You'll end up on prescription medication. That's if you seriously need to do some serious engineering and you need to reference other parts in the assembly to design your part. It's not going to do it. It's not. Shape binders all over the place. I don't care for that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it. I know.
We could talk for hours on this topic, though, for sure.
I could. I'm sorry about that, guys.
We better move on, but let us know in the chat if this answers your FreeCAD question or if there's anything else that we can help clarify. And I'm seeing a really cool pinned comment here. Just had a chat with my boss this morning, and we are switching from SolidWorks to Alibre. All right, hero, Ian Dunlop, we appreciate you. We're excited to hear, and let us know how that goes, or if we can support you more.
Yeah, for sure. We're here.
I did see one that I think only you can answer. Is there really a Greek island that lets you live for free if you take care of cats?
Nope. Nope. No. Nope. I saw that earlier, and but no. No, Greek island and free are two different things, people. Let me tell you.
This is a good one. To everyone on the panel, which CAM program do you prefer?
Which CAM program?
That's an easy one. I honestly don't really need one or use one. I don't really do any machining or anything like that.
So. Oh, you do? You prefer OrcaSlicer, don't you?
That's true. I guess you could technically call that a CAM
isn't
program.
It is a CAM.
It is.
It is. So I use OrcaSlicer then, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, if you watch my latest video, the last few seconds of it, you might get an idea about which CAM system I'm currently exploring, right? But which CAM program I prefer? I do like HSM Works for milling, right? Which is what Fusion uses now. EasyCam we had on the stream the other day, it seems to be pretty much caught up to it. But I don't think I've ever enjoyed using a CAM system. It's really CAM systems are cumbersome for a reason. I'll leave it at that.
So for me, I'm probably going to take some heat. I originally started with Fusion 360 way back when you could make some money with the startup license, and my head got into the whole Fusion 360 ecosystem in terms of the UI and how it worked. Subsequently, now my skills have improved and my position has changed, where I'm now starting to look at making things that I'm going to sell. Fusion 360 is not an option for me anymore, certainly on a personal license. So I switched over to FreeCAD to use their CAM solution and have had reasonably good outputs from that. And now I've been introduced very recently to EasyCam, and I'm starting to delve down that rabbit hole, and looking at how the workflow differences. At the end of the day, all we're trying to do is make machines move, and to produce an output. So the logic of how you approach a particular job, certainly from my standpoint, the things that I do is pretty straightforward, pretty repeatable, regardless of which software I'm using. It's just about which buttons I click to make it happen. And what algorithms sit in the background to generate, say, for example, a clearing, like a pocket. How efficient is it? Does it save my tool? Or is everything on me? I might need to break a couple of tools to figure that out, right? But yeah, I do like FreeCAD for that. But I'm hopeful I'm going to transition to EasyCam very, very soon.
The CAM workbench in FreeCAD is probably the most mature workbench. I know Joseph hates me for saying these things, but it's probably the most mature workbench in all of FreeCAD. And it's built with a mindset that if the entire software was built with that mindset, it'd be a very, very serious threat to SolidWorks and to Alibre, but it's not. But the CAM workbench works. Can I just highlight a huge comment here? Yeah, it doesn't show all of it. So Stephen here is asking, he's very interested in weldments, which I am too. I need to see weldments happening. I've got an entire mid-engine car chassis waiting for weldments to launch, and I'll use it to design it. And he's also asking that he has spreadsheets for SolidWorks and wants to know if he can bring these into Alibre. Yes, he can, Stephen. You need to get the Excel add-on. It ships with the software, so it's already on your hard drive. It's not installed yet, though. You can go into a Alibre help file. It's very, very good on showing you how to install it. And it works, and then it works pretty much like it works in SolidWorks. Pretty much, right? I've got a video on it, how to excel in Alibre. And the official Alibre channel also has a couple of good ones, which is what I referenced to learn the Excel add-on and then make the video. So yeah, there are resources there. The help article is well written, and yeah, you can do that.
Forgive me if this has already been covered, but sticking with the spreadsheet question. This guy says, I was a little frustrated because design parameters are not available at the part level. Will spreadsheet parameters work at both levels?
Yep.
All right.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure exactly what you mean design parameters are not available in the part level. So every file you create in Alibre gets its own equation editor, right? And then in Expert, you also get access to global parameters, which is a set of parameters that can be tied to any file you want, right? I've got videos on that as well. Alibre Official also has a great video on them. However, you can also have the same functionality with the Excel add-on. So you can link one spreadsheet to multiple files, like you can do with global parameters. You can link one spreadsheet to multiple files and drive parameters from there. The catch is that when you change something in global parameters, everything updates automatically. In the Excel add-on, you need to, there's a drop-down menu. You select the part, update. You select the next part and update. So for a huge assembly, it's a bit cumbersome. But when you can buy Atom for $200 and the Excel add-on works with Atom, I mean, you can do configurations through the spreadsheet. You can do global parameters. Come on, it's amazing value for money.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth looking at a comparison of the competitor pricing, right? And see how many months of a subscription it takes for you to have a lifetime license.
It's also worth
And then,
Yep.
tallying up which features you actually use and need,
yeah,
because it's very
Yep.
easy to look at the Atom3D, which is $200 again. Fantastic deal. It's very easy to go, oh well, it doesn't have this or that, but do you need either of those two things? Is that something you're actually going to use? Which is why, again, it's the perfect. They call it the hobbyist level, because a lot of the tools that it doesn't have, you don't really need. So
Yep.
it's worth
And
considering.
plus, okay, so this live is Costas Ex Machina ranting, but plus, Atom is not a hobbyist only license. You can actually use it to make money legally, which you
Correct.
cannot with Fusion and the other guys. And you know what's great what's a great way to use Alibre in a large company? You get expert for your senior engineers, right? You get professional for your team managers, and you get Atom for your junior engineers. And you've saved a huge amount of money that can go into R&D, and now you've got money to hire a couple more engineers, right? That's how I use it, and that's how I've pitched it to companies that I've worked with.
Perfect stuff.
Thanks. Lots of new questions here.
Lots
We
of
better
questions.
move
Say,
on here.
real quick, good manufacturing company checks the drawing before production. That's a good point. But you don't always want to rely on that happening. But that's a very good point. That hopefully they will check over your work before sending anything to a machine.
So
I like the saying "never assume."
Yeah,
because it makes an ass out of you and me. So,
Yeah.
So that's a follow-up by Cowtool, says parameters created in 2D design are not available in the part parameters. I'm not sure what you mean there exactly.
If you create something in the
you
drawing
can-
environment, it's not in the part environment, or
But why would you be designing in the drawing environment,
yeah,
right? So, Cowtools, if you are in the forums, hit us up. We can work with you on that, and I might even find about an hour and give you we'll have a Zoom call, and I'll help you a little bit with that. But in the sketch, whatever you do in the sketch environment is available throughout the part.
yeah. I like this one. In Atom3D, what is the recommended way to calibrate an imported image relative to the sketch? So I'll create a new
That's a
part
cool
here.
one.
Yeah, isn't that fun? And I think the sketch
that's
imager. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's always cool to do. I actually had so I've got two very old cars because I love them. Don't get me started on cars. And the door handle broke on one of them. It's a 1997 16 valve Citroen Saxo. And I couldn't get one. And I eventually found one, and they wanted a ridiculous amount, like, oh, I'm scared. Come on, Joseph, don't do that. So they wanted a ridiculous amount that was like 100 euros for a piece of plastic. So what I did is I glued the broken one back together. I took a picture of it straight from above, put it in Alibre, reverse engineered it, printed it, and that's what I'm using now to open my door.
That's perfect. So in this case, right, I've clicked on image, and then I've chosen a tracing image and a plane for it to go on. And I of course, can scale it by saying 0.5 if I want it to be wider. We have wide guy, but it doesn't give us a sense of measurement. So you can scale it if you need to change the scale of your image that way. But I think we're talking about a dimensionally accurate image. So let me not hide it rather, but edit. We can go to calibrate size, and I can say, I know that mask, let's say that is 8 inches apart. So I click on one side, I click on the other side, and I can say, make that 8 inches apart, and then it's dimensionally accurately scaled there. And of course, I have the option to change the angle if I wish to rotate the image, and I can translate it using these options here, and then say OK when I'm happy. So let me know if that's what you're looking for.
Can I make a suggestion a little bit earlier in the workflow that might also assist?
Please.
So there's two approaches that I take whenever I'm bringing in an image of an object. One, if the image if the part is small enough and is practical, I'll use a multifunction printer that has a scanner on it.
Yes.
And I will scan. I will scan that in. But what I include in the scan is a plastic rule. In fact, I'm just stepping away to grab the plastic rule that I have right next to my printer scanner, right? And essentially, I use that as a calibration mechanism. And the bigger that the larger scale that I use, so this is a 30 centimeter ruler. If I use all of it, the amount of error is reduced the further you go. You know, if you only measured like 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters versus 100 millimeters versus 300 millimeters, the factor of your error reduces. So that's the first tip. The second tip, if you're taking if you're taking a photograph of a large object, let's say, for example, Costas, your example of something for your car, something car-sized or human-sized, you want to pull back as far away from the object as you feasibly can, and then zoom in. If you're using a DSLR camera, you zoom in with the lens. If you're using a digital camera, you'll zoom in with a digital zoom. The only issue with a digital zoom is you can get some artifacting and noise. But depending on the tools that you've got available to you, so you pull back as far as possible and you zoom in. What you're doing is you're compressing perspective. And that means that, again, if you're holding like a 1 meter rule, you can then measure that 1 meter rule in the photograph with the minimum amount of perspective compress. You compress that perspective. Therefore, you're going to get a more accurate image that you can come in and calibrate in Alibre and then design your part. And you're more likely to get a better fitment using those two techniques.
As in, please don't use a wide-angle lens, because believe me, I'm a photography guy. I like photography. Please don't shoot wide-angle if you're taking photos to be measured. You know, use something like 100 millimeters, 70 millimeters. Don't use your 30 millimeter trying to take photos you're going to measure, because you're going to get that that difference in perspective. You're going to get a fisheye effect on your product, and it's going to morph the dimensions quite a bit.
100%.
Excellent.
I see another one here.
Yes, has Alibre in V29 fixed the diameter symbol export issue? In the exported drawing file, the diameter symbol shows up as the letter N. I reported this problem a couple years ago. I sent this internally to quality and development. They found a record in the system of that issue being fixed. So they wanted to follow up and ask, are you using the English version or some other version? And what's your current version that you're using? Let us know in the chat, and we'll get over to it.
Can I also hog the time a little bit and highlight this?
Yes.
Sorry, it was his previous. So he needs to create temporary drawings to obtain certain measurement because he couldn't snap to the point needed within the assembly. Within the assembly with the measure tool. So Jason, in those cases, you will go inside the assembly environment. You will make a plane that is in the orientation you want to measure, and you will use an assembly sketch, because first of all, that way you can measure to whatever you need. You can snap to whatever you need, right? And plus, even if it is a driven dimension that you obtain, you can then make it a parameter. And then that dimension is usable in your entire assembly because it is in the equation editor of the assembly. Whereas if you do that in the drawings environment, it's a bit more clunky, and then you don't get to store it anywhere for later use. So it is a valid concern and a valid workflow, but I would suggest you don't do that in the drawing environment. You do it directly inside the assembly environment with an assembly sketch.
Good recommendation.
Yep. And I see that Nathan also just said the same thing I was saying, as a message. But yeah,
we got a couple.
There you go. There you go.
So this guy says, question about perpetual licenses. Worst case scenario in the future, can we keep using the software if the license service no longer exists? This does happen from time to time with other companies like Finale. If you've ever looked at music writing or anything like that, rest in peace, Finale. What they ended up doing was sending out kind of a last update and basically stripping the program of its necessity to contact the servers. And hopefully we'll never see this day with Alibre because they're doing really, really well, and I appreciate them. But if worse comes to worse and this ever happens, I would imagine it would be something like that, where they push out a final update to just remove the necessity for it to contact servers, I would think. But of course, hopefully that's something we never have to discuss.
We've been around for 27 years, and we're just getting better.
Exactly.
People think that Alibre is a newer software, right? It's not. It's one of the oldest CAD software out there.
Yeah, I thought it was new.
It's one of the old. Yeah, I thought it was new when first I heard of Alibre was when Joseph mentioned it for the first time in a YouTube video, and I thought, okay, this new, CAD software. And when I used it for the trial, and it was so robust, and it could do things that Fusion would, trip over itself and fall down, and Alibre would sail through them. I was like, okay, I'm sticking with this now. And later I found out that it was first shipped in 97 or 93, Joseph?
I believe it was 97.
Oh, 97, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been there for a while.
So that would have been on Windows 95.
Yep. Oh man, I had such hard time convincing myself to get off of Windows 95. But yeah. Anyway, let's not get there either.
So that just demonstrates we need to get the word out about Alibre.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
If everyone thinks it's new,
exactly.
We need to telegraph.
Yep. AutoCAD is the oldest one I know. Yeah. Well, if you want to go there, the oldest CAD system ever was an internal piece of software designed by General Motors, and the first car that was designed with it was the Corvette C3, right?
Yeah. Here we go.
And Lockheed Martin had
perfect.
The first airplane ever designed in CAD was the Galaxy C5.
I was just about to click on that one, Joseph.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So if you're using Expert 25, you want to purchase a service license to update the software and add CAM functionality. As far as updating to the current version of Alibre, lots of cool new stuff. I bet you'd enjoy it. That is going to be a lapse maintenance fee of like $200. A lot of CAD platforms are going to say you need to pay every single upgrade fee to currently upgrade, but we don't work that way. We think it's much more reasonable to do one small fee.
And then, of course, whatever the CAD package costs.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, whatever the CAM package costs. But,
yeah, and I agree with Way Too Common. I think we're getting some awesome comments from Way Too Common here.
Yep, guys, I compete with large design offices. That's what I do for a living. Right?
Successfully.
And and let me tell you, Alibre is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Right? I started my company with Fusion. Back when in Europe you paid 60 euros a month for it, and then the tools I used regularly started, being behind paywalls dropping all around me, and Steve said something that is really, really important. Just a moment ago, just if you calculate how many months of subscriptions an Alibre license is. So when I switched, an Alibre license was 36 months of Fusion subscriptions, right? Right now, it's like closer to 12 to 18, depending on the tools you use. So,
Yeah.
And after those 18 months, you still own a Libre.
and you still own it precisely. Yeah, very well said, Adam.
And you can use
Sorry,
it
I'm a bit aggressive on
offline,
that subject.
and you can.
And
Anyway,
guys, military applications, right? Both here in Greece, we have that law. I know the US also has it. You cannot have files that are meant for a customer in the military. You cannot have them accessible
In the
online.
cloud.
And if it's in the cloud, it's accessible. Yeah. So it's another thing.
100%.
I see this one. Libre support is great and a great reason to choose a paid software. I'm going to send that to our support team right now. That's a cool comment.
Libre support is
Yeah.
fantastic, top notch.
Do you know what?
It is.
That's one thing that I am very precious about in my day job when somebody comments like this. Because when you're working in support, people, by the very virtue, call to tell you the problem. Nobody ever phones up and say, "Hey, Alibre is working fine. Thanks."
By the way,
It's very true.
So we
That's
need to
actually very
telegraph
true.
that message, right?
I think this is a good time, by the way, for all of us to say thank you guys, everyone at the Alibre support team and all the devs at Alibre. Fantastic work. If you couldn't tell, we love everything you're doing. By the way, if you're messaging support, I mean, if you get that Joseph guy, just be careful. He's a little...
Yeah, he's a big
grumpy. It's a wild card.
Be a bit antsy.
Yeah, you never know.
Like this one, what is the expected release date for the V29 version? Is there any more information about Linux or Mac OS on ARM Apple Silicon? So for the expected release date, we were shooting for today. It's going to be very, very soon, though. Just a few other J's, lowercase j's to dot. If you get my
dotting
reference.
I's and crossing T's.
Yes. We've done the I's and yeah.
So it's the beta is coming out very, very soon. We might even have a dedicated stream to launch the beta, and we'll go through some of the cool things there. So stay tuned. It's right around the corner.
Can I just highlight a comment?
Yes, please.
So this one I think is quite important, right? Super refreshing to find a company that still respects its customers as humans and not just income streams. I think with the advent and advancement in technology around AI and things like that, I think the only way to stand out, whether it's on a content creation platform like YouTube, whether it is operating as a business, I think it is incredibly important to emphasize the human factor, not only from a customer standpoint, but also the company itself. Yeah. You know, we're all humans. We're all making our way through life, and you know, I think it's going to be the difference in the not too distant future. And I think if you're human and treat people like humans, I think you're going to stand out a mile apart from like a sore thumb from the AI companies, because they're going to be so sterile.
Can we bring our faces up? Can we bring our faces up full screen right quick? Because I have another similar point on that. Like, guys, Joseph's the only one here that works at Alibre, so he's obviously got a bias.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The rest of us, we're all
and
here.
He's the only one not speaking.
We're all here of our own free will. We've been asked to be here, and we're all here because we actually genuinely love this software. We're not here because... Oops, sorry, I got a timer off. We're not here because we weren't emailed and said, "Hey, would you like to shill for Alibre and we'll pay you money?" No, we're all here because Joseph sent us an email and said, "Hey, we're doing this new project. We want to help people live on stream, do some Q&A. Would you guys be willing to join us? Because we know you guys know your stuff and you guys are good with this YouTube thing." And all of us said, absolutely. Full-hearted, emphatic yes. So we're not here to advertise to or anything like. Obviously, yes, we're showing you the software, and we would love that you go and buy it because we think you'll love it. But we're here because we honestly, well and truly believe that this is the best place for you to do your CAD stuff, and we well and truly believe that that this is the best solution for you. So
Yep.
And it's Adam brings up an interesting point. Joseph is the only Alibre employee. He's the only one not praising Alibre at and dissing other software. Right?
to be fair, yeah, we're doing a lot of active dissing of other software too.
Come on, I mean, like I'm putting up a "fight me" sign. Like, prove me wrong, right?
Yeah.
Come on. You know why I'm here? Because I paid Alibre. That's why I'm here. But yeah, we can another place, another time.
Idea for you now, Custis. With you, like a fight me, bro.
Yeah. Okay, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Well, since we're all on screen, this one seemed appropriate. We've got a guy subscribed to all of us, so thank you very much.
Yep,
Or gal.
Really appreciate you. Thank you.
From Sweden, no less. From Sweden.
Oh, the second half of that V29 release date question, by the way, updates on Linux and Mac. Stay tuned on the forums because I know that's still a major decision that's coming up. And like I've kept saying, make sure that your desire for that you voice that. There's a couple existing threads on there of us talking about that. Make sure you know that that you would be interested in that and that it's worth their time to make a Mac and Linux version, because that is something they're heavily considering. So make sure you go over there and mention that, because they're looking to make sure that it's worth their time before they dedicate it. So.
Absolutely. See, thanks for the calibration tips. Looking for some more questions here.
Say, if we don't find one, then I've got one, but I know that we've probably got some more.
There's one here talking about V29. I don't know if we've touched on this at all. Is the next version, is it mostly a UI update? What
Great
features?
question. Yeah, V29 is going to be the next update that you see. Again, beta for that is right around the corner. If you want to sign up for the beta, we're probably going to do a dedicated live stream to launch that. That will be UI. The next version after that is going to be V29 dot release, and that dot release is going to be covering a lot of weldments, and maybe it's time to show some of those new weldment capabilities off.
And just to highlight, that UI update isn't insignificant. From everything that I've heard to date, is the UI update is a step away from the current constraints that there are on the software, and it opens the door to additional development for like Mac OS, Linux, and it's in a framework that is going to hopefully open the door to other features in addition to that. So I think that's worth pointing it out. It's not just somebody designing some new icons.
Yeah.
Lee Ferroni,
for sure.
Lee Ferroni, that's a really cool username. You're not alone. Most of us are in that same boat. Myself and Joseph included are ready to jump ship and so we're all stay tuned on the forum, because we're looking to get that to get that going. So let's see. Oh, here's one for Joseph, because Joseph has got V29 access right now. Will there be easier way to show physical weld in a weldment?
That's a great question. I may ask that internally.
So stay tuned.
Sorry if you can hear me typing. I'm just going to hurry and type that out.
Yeah, can I just say now, if it's absolutely necessary, like you're doing something and you need the weight to the milligram or whatever, you can always, have the weldment, the weld actually, the physical weld, be a separate part in the assembly, which is driven by the edges, and it's just a sweep then with the appropriate section. It's a V shape or a butt weld or whatever, and you sweep it across the edges that you weld, and you give it a different color because it's a different part, and now you can show it, and you can suppress it if you want and whatnot. It's not as direct as the weld bead tool in SolidWorks, but I don't use that all that much there either. But if you do need it absolutely for some, practical reason in a model, you can do that in the assembly environment. You just create a separate part that is the weld.
It's good to know. Costas always with the workarounds.
Yeah, well,
Got a license question here. So I have a current license for Atom3D for Windows, allows installations into a Mac OS if such becomes available. That's a future question. I don't know if we can answer that right now. I think I know what the answer would be if it was my company, but Joseph, have you got a comment on that?
Bit of a disclaimer, right? We haven't run the analysis or made the decision about Mac OS or Linux yet. So, I'm not, whatever I say is not official, but I do not anticipate you need to buy a separate license if you want to run it on a separate system.
Obviously, you need to be up to date because the latest version at the time is what's going to be available on Mac OS or Linux, prospectively, if that ever happens. But so as long as you're up to date, more than likely, but none of this is official, but more than likely, as long as you're up to date with the latest version, you should be all right. But stay tuned again.
Yeah. So guys, look, right now the way it works in Windows, of course, is you can release the license from one computer and then activate it on another. You can have Alibre installed in both computers as well, and you release the license from one and you activate it on the other. I expect it to be something similar, although we cannot say for sure, but I would expect it's going to be similar to that.
Stay tuned.
Well, how about I pull up v29 dot release for you guys so far?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of excitement there.
You tease.
Yep.
So if we switch over here to my screen,
there you go.
And maybe get rid of a comment that I pulled up. So this is just an example of a little work in progress frame that I was making out of weldments. And this is kind of an end product to show you what it might look like. Let's start from the base in the weldments environment and see what it looks like. Bit of a disclaimer here. This is a still in progress, active development thing. So it's going to look a lot different when we're in the final weldments. We're probably not going to have extrude or revolve or sweep when things are all said and done. So the UI will look a lot different, but let's jump in and maybe make a weldment. I'll create a 2D sketch and I'll grab a center rectangle. Maybe I want to have a rectangular weldment feature. And didn't mean to do that. So I'll grab a dimension. I forget that some of my hotkeys aren't going right now. Let's go with 36, maybe 48. And let's go horizontal. And then I'll have a diagonal member here and maybe a random one there. All right, let's deactivate that and get weldmenting. When I click on weldment structure, I first can select a profile. Now, this profile selection will probably be different than how it currently is. But from Windows Explorer, I'm going to choose C channel. There's probably going to be something different about this in the final go. And I can choose a designation size if I'd like. And so as I click, I am placing C channel members along my sketch. Now, one of the things that we didn't show last time is that now I can adjust a profile angle. Maybe I want to rotate that 90 degrees, and we can see how those C channels rotate 90 degrees. I can cope those corners so that we get very, very nice kind of watertight fits. Maybe I want to make that 30 degrees, and we can have a somewhat odd but really cool C channel angle there. And maybe now I can, I have to apply and then add another weldment body there. Now you can see that as I add a second weldment body, we have some overlap, and that's not what we want our weldments to look like, right? And this is where we have a new feature that I'm happy to show today. We have the extend and trim feature. What I can say is I want to trim this body with these bodies, And now we have a very nice fit. We also have the ability now to hide some of these bodies. So I'm going to choose hide, and we can see how that was trimmed exactly to fit around those bodies together. When we're talking about fit, we may also...
Exactly.
What's that? Sorry?
Chef's kiss.
Oh, yes. Yes, chef's kiss. Now, when we're talking about fitment, we may want to have some gaps, right? Maybe there's a gap required for welding or something like that. So we can edit our initial weldment, and we haven't seen this from the last time. I can add in certain gap sizes and move these apart to a specified gap. Now, what's interesting is when I go to retrim this, we can get that to fill the gap. So if I maybe make it a little bit more realistic here, and I turn these to 90, just like that, we can say, oh, I guess I have to turn this one too.
Might help.
Yep, there we go, 90. And then I go to trim that. Why, pretty interesting to see how it can fill the gap with our trim feature. But maybe we don't want that, right? Maybe we need the gap for welding, and this is totally unintended. So there's another part of our weldment feature that fixes this quite nicely. I can say, instead of using the body to trim, I'll clear that. I can say trim on these planes, and these planes will trim it much more like how we would want.
Yeah.
So interesting enhancements there. But again, there's still some more that
I think we're already past what SolidWorks weldments can do.
I hope so.
Weldments in SolidWorks is probably the most painful experience in the whole software, right? But
I have not used SolidWorks weldments in a long time, so I don't know if I'm...
Oh, man, you don't know what you're missing.
And hopefully he never will.
Hopefully he will.
Another interesting thing that we might want to do is say, what if we don't want to use C-channel through the whole thing? I'm going to change this to a pipe. And there we have a pipe. And I'll update my initial weldment to have a gap of 0. And when we go to the bottom here, we can tell that we're being trimmed on the planes. But there's kind of a fitment issue, right? Our pipe is low, and maybe I want to meet that in the middle. Well, we could make a sketch on a different plane to get that pipe in the middle, but that's kind of a pain, right? So what I'll do is when I go to make my weldment, I can see my profile right there, and there's a number of points. And all I really need to do is say, I want this point on my sweep sketch instead of this bottom one. And when I do, it adjusts the position of the entire thing to sweep along the middle of the profile. And so we can make one-click adjustments to where our weldment sweep occurs and be able to position that quite well. So that is kind of a fun and interesting thing. Now, I haven't touched this sketch right here, so I
don't even do welding, and this is making me happy.
Oh, wow.
Right, it's really fun.
This is crazy.
It's really fun. It is. If it works, when it works correctly, weldments is really, really fun. That's true.
So I don't know if you guys get the whole shiny new thing over here, grab your attention, right? Moment. I call that the squirrel hole moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because it's like it's like the squirrel. The dog looking for the squirrel in Up, right? Yeah. And it's like, oh, you find yourself 47 pages down a Google search, right? I'm seeing so many different projects that I can potentially start using this feature.
It's interesting because my first thought isn't to use it for welding, but I'm actually thinking it would make it really cool and easy to do things with like 2x4s and 4x4s with wood to easily make super easy. That'd be interesting.
Now, and I'll tell you one more. And I'll tell you one more thing that I used SolidWorks weldments for a client recently. you add the profile of an aluminum extrusion and 80-20 or whatever, right?
I mean,
And
you
then you
could make it
bolt
just.
it together,
Oh yeah.
You
right?
could just lay out a
Right?
frame
Oh,
for a
yeah.
whole 3D printer in like 10 clicks.
In seconds. Yep.
Oh, that's
There you go. You got it.
crazy.
That's why I'm so excited about it.
We're parallel thinking here, Costas.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, Joseph, seriously, tell the team that we are so excited for this. This is amazing.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
One thing I definitely know I'm prepped ready for, because I doubt this feature will be available. So I'm getting my fingers ready on the keys when the feature request option comes. Back in the day, I wanted to make a type of bike, and one of the things that I couldn't do because of the lack of tools was be able to cut. I don't know if you call it a fish mouth in the pipes,
Yep.
so that they join together. And I found a website that you would type in the diameter of the internal and external diameter and the angles, and it would create a paper template that you could wrap around and use like a Dremel or a hacksaw or something like that, right? I will definitely be asking for that feature in Weldments, if you can create like a template to be able to cut things by hand. And I know that's not something which a manufacturer would have, because they'd have all the tooling to do this. But as a hobbyist, I'm definitely looking for something like that.
I'll tell you what, there is actually a methodology to do that, to develop a 2D cylinder that has a weird cut, to develop it into a 2D shape. And we used to get taught that in Design 101 in university, because when I started, these things we didn't have them. But if you have that as a feature in the drawing environment, right?
Ooh.
That would be mega, right? And I've got, but I want to see how it deploys first before I start shooting feature requests to the team, right?
Yeah.
But
there may be an even easier way to do it that is already shipping with it, and you just don't know yet. So
yeah, exactly. And another thing that would be cool is if you can get, if when you send this to a drawing, if you can get a multi-sheet file and each sheet is one member, right?
interesting.
Then that would be like next level stuff, right? But I'm telling you, what I'm looking at now is very, very. I mean, it's extremely robust, and you wouldn't expect anything less from the Alibre team, right? Sometimes I think
I'm excited by this.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that Alibre has a few less features because they spend so much time making everything like, so robust and watertight. But it seems amazingly robust, and I've already seen stuff that would break the SolidWorks environment. I'm telling you right now.
Development was very hectically developing this, and they did a really good job. And they're still continuing to develop. There's more features coming that haven't been developed yet. So stay tuned. That's one other thing that I'd like to show is I can trim this body on the things that aren't there, right? And the way that we do that is we just click extend up, and of course I need to choose the planes of these bodies, but we can extend straight to those things. So it's not just cutting apart, but you can extend it and end at the angle that you need to. So there's a lot of flexibility built in. And then also what's interesting is we're going to
question, and maybe a feature request there. Could you punch a hole at that angle through the angle iron for the pipe?
So I can set this as a trimming body, and then in one swoop, I'm trimming here and then trimming on a body as well. And if I go to my cut list and hide, we can see that we indeed did get that hole in there.
That's cool.
Oh, that's so nice.
So
Okay, so Joseph is just playing with me now because he gets to have that and I don't, and it's just. But I will get it. I will get it
I
when
have
it
some
launches.
jokes,
I'll
but
have
they're
it.
not appropriate for this.
Don't worry
this
about it.
I think chat is also suitably impressed with the Weldments. Looking at the comments.
Oh man,
Let's see.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let me tell you guys.
Yeah.
I actually have work to do. That would be seriously. I have frames being designed right now, right? That have taken me a week. That could be like 2 minutes with this tool. I mean, right now as we speak, right? So it's not even for fun. It's actually for work here.
Well, we're aiming to please, and this is looking good. I love this.
No,
Welcome.
you're aiming to please, but all you're doing it now is tease. So
Right.
right.
This is getting to be an advanced conversation here. Welcome, Green Plastic Water Can. Glad you just joined, and glad.
Welcome back. I'm pretty sure we've seen you before, so welcome back.
I think we've answered some questions
he's,
before, so we love to see you back. We love all of our viewers.
Looks like we've got a potential feature request here. Sorry, go ahead, Costa. Sorry.
We had a great discussion in a comment thread. He's got really nice. He knows what he's talking about. And
nice.
He's got the background.
Yeah. Interested to see what he comes out with.
Yeah, and it is nice that we do have the parametric modeling. I can change that back to 30, and then see how things.
Yeah, that's isn't it? But isn't it really? First, so two things. The first time I heard Weldments, I was like thinking of, car chassis. That's number one for me, and second was I'll get a section of aluminum in there and do all sorts of magic stuff with it. That's it.
Oh yeah. I'm going to change these planes so that it actually fixes, but hopefully that is a reasonable update. In fact, I'll make that trim body. Why not? As to where we're going with weldments. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I messed with it too much, but you can see it's going to be a really cool release.
And you also showed another feature of V29, which is underrated, I think. Right? It's right now. We picked at it a bit too much, and it threw a couple of errors, and they were all on the bottom right.
Yep.
They were non-toggle, so it tells you something went wrong, but you can still continue working.
You've got the red button to tell you that something's going to go wrong. So if you want to fix it before you even close the dialog, you can.
Yeah, I mean, so
that something subtle there.
Yeah. No, I mean I feel the pain. That's why.
We've all seen and heard the dreaded doo-doo-doo from Windows, trying to click on something, and it's the whole thing is so good.
Again, yeah.
So, can the frame be exported?
Rob's Fox, exactly, for a 4x4. There you go. Just give me this feature. Green plastic, man. I'm with you. Joseph's just teasing us here because he gets to have it and we don't. That's what's happening here.
That's a great question, Steve. Because if you're going to design this, it's not enough to just have an assembly of these parts, right? You want to be able to make a drawing of these individual parts. And my reply to that would be, stay tuned. I think you're going to be pretty happy in the future as things develop.
What version of Alibre are we looking to see weldments in?
This is going to be v29 release. So the beta around the corner is going to be v29. You'll see an all new UI, and then after that,
are we looking for what tier? Are we looking at expert tier?
This will be expert. Yeah.
That's what. Okay. Yeah. And another thing that I asked on the forums, and there was a bit of a discussion going there. What would be awesome, right, is in the sun buggy chassis that you showed, right? You have the rollover hoop, right, and that's a curved pipe. first of all, that's awesome that it can do it, right? It can do weldments with yes, that one. It can do weldments with curved pipes as well. And what would be like knocking it straight out of the park is if you could get in a drawing or in a cut list or whatever, right? If you could get the information of what was the length of that pipe before it was bent,
Yeah.
right? So you can cut it to size and then bend it. I'm telling you, roll cage design in CAD is a nightmare because these things are not available. SolidWorks definitely doesn't do them. If we can do that, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just awesome.
I think that length is somewhat likely to occur, but I haven't followed up on that particular feature.
Yeah, for example, if you're getting a cut list out of this, right, and tells you that you have two members that are like 15 centimeters long, and you've got three members that are 100 centimeters long. In there, if you could identify that curved, I guess you identify all of the members. But if you can get that data point somewhere, it doesn't even need to be available in drawing. It can just be in a cut list, just so that you know what you are cutting at the saw when you're prepping the material, right? That'd be awesome. Yep. But even without that, I'm already blown away.
Yep. Jason Freen has a great question here. Jason Reen, hopefully I'm saying that right. Can the frame be exported as individual parts with their cuts and holes, etc.? So in case that was missed, that's coming. And what it's going to look like is, because you're going to need to be able to say extract this and be able to dictate how it's bent and what those dimensions are, right? So you would promote this to a part file, make a drawing, and have all of your dimensions, holes, features on that, whatever you would like. That is going to be a driven part. So when we export this, if we want to make changes to it, we make changes in the weldment file and the part updates. But if you put features on the driven part itself, I don't think those are going to be updated in the weldment. So just make your changes in the weldment, and then you can export that promoted part for drawings, and the update is kind of in one direction. So I think that will probably be the only caveat that we see with that. I think it's a really small deal.
I mean, that's
nice stuff.
Perfect.
I think we're caught up on questions and things so far.
Yes. So any lingering items, be sure to put them in the chat. Maybe it's time for a maintenance giveaway. Is this a good live stream?
There you go. What? Yep. There you go.
I'm not going to post anything in the chat so that I don't get flagged. I don't know.
Yeah, just show it in a picture.
I know. I love Wave.video. It is such an awesome platform. I'm going to throw them under the bus for those problems, though. It's their raffle machine that we're using. So let's choose a hashtag. How about
the RNG of Wave video is like not good enough for D&D, right?
Let's do hashtag V29 capital V. I'll make a text block, and I know we're dealing on a delay here, so let's do this hashtag. Put this hashtag in the chat, hashtag V29, and you'll be in the drawing for free Alibre maintenance. And we'll give it a few minutes for the chat to populate.
Yeah, I'm watching the replay. I'll let you know when it pops up on my screen, so we know.
We've got a couple people.
Oh. That's awesome.
There you go. Hashtag V29. Stick that in the chat if you want to win some maintenance. I'm loving it. Capital V's everywhere.
There you go.
Win a chicken dinner.
I always love this because in the live stream analytics that YouTube provides, when we do this, we see just a huge
spike in chat.
Spike in chat.
There you go.
It kind of stinks though, because then you can't see the ebbs and flows of when it normally does. It all flattens out for this huge spike.
This guy says he'll fax a taco.
Yeah, it's Bill Black. Yeah. He's just doing it on purpose, at this point. It's pretty obvious. He just wants to get us thinking about food and, not knowing what we're saying or whatever.
I mean, we're almost 2 hours in, and this is the first mention of tacos, right? So you're doing well.
Yeah.
Well, one of these days,
It was better than last time, man.
I'm going to put myself on mute and gorge on tacos in front of everybody.
Right. Well, I mean, why put yourself on mute? ASMR content is doing great on YouTube.
That's a great question. How to get a notification for your next live? Few things to do here. We do post forums on when the next lives are, and if you sign up for emails, then emails go out that say when the next lives are as well. And thank you.
So that was a Facebook question. Equally, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to get a notification, if you subscribe to either the Alibre, the Ex Machina, and Weekday Weekend, or the IQ Workshop channels, you will get notifications when the stream is scheduled.
Definitely. Thanks, Steve. Steve is our YouTube scholar over here. He knows everything's YouTube. All right, I think
I know enough.
All right, I think we filled it up, so I'm gonna run it now.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, what's gonna go wrong? Let's try it.
It's a long username. What do we got? Terabyte Johnson 5814.
There you go.
All right, congratulations.
Congrats, Terabyte Johnson. Congrats. So cool. 3 minutes, guy.
Golf claps.
Check this out.
Let's try this here. All right, Terabyte Johnson, send me an email if I can pull up the text block. There we go, Joseph@Alibre.com, and we'll get you some maintenance. Terabyte Johnson, congratulations. That is awesome.
Good job.
And nothing went wrong this time. I am just the happiest guy.
Yeah.
I don't have any wood to
the first one, look, the first one was the best one out of them all, because wasn't that when it first gave it to Alibre and then to Adam, and then that was amazing.
Yes, and then someone got a free license just for accusing us of being rigged. So they, I got the email.
I remember that.
I got the email from them, and the subject line was "not rigged."
Speaking of David Solstrom, my dude, we give away. We do pretty often giveaways when we do these live streams. So stick around, and
for sure,
you will get you'll win eventually, my dude. Because all things considered, it's actually pretty good chances. So
it's just a matter of time.
I mean, you look at the lottery of viewers. We've got 63 people in here right now, right? So one of 63.
Not bad.
They're good odds.
Yep. Well, do we see any more questions? Over here go. I'm starting a Facebook group.
I do have a question for you guys when you get a minute. Do you have one?
Yeah. You mentioned that, and we all forgot, Adam.
That's all right.
Go for it.
So my question is regarding the drawing environment, and I want to properly call out hole centers for like a BCD kind of. So right now they look like this. How do I make them so that they actually run perpendicular to my my bolt diameter here? How do I properly call these holes out?
You use a circular pattern is the unfortunate answer.
I believe I did circular pattern these.
Okay, so then if you click on that view, you get that little a pop out on the view. Not there you go. You get that
Okay.
little pop out menu, right?
Okay.
And then you go manage view, and you click plus
Centers.
centers. I think
Okay.
that should do it.
That does do it. I just need to get rid of the ones I put in manually. That probably does.
Yeah,
it.
probably.
Although-
And when you're putting, so if you go sheet, view management, right? And you sheets and view,
Yep.
right? You see that? If you click on standard, you get to put another view in right there.
Mhm.
You have a little button saying more options, and it extends the.
Okay.
So that's hugely useful. I have most of these ticked. Try and do one and click design dimensions, right? Because
Okay.
if you've designed it knowing, if you've designed it for this, it'll come in and most of the dimensions will be in there, and you don't even need to annotate it, right? But,
See, so that's that's the secret behind weekday weekend workshop is I'm also learning myself. That's kind of why I started it, so I could learn to do drawings myself. So it's everyone's learning at the same time. So good, sweet.
Yeah, but these options here are amazing, and also, that's where you get if you have a sheet metal part, that's where you select that you want to make a drawing of the flat pattern, and not the actual part, like the 3D part, right?
Okay.
That's where that is.
I gotta say, I do like your drawings, Adam.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
They're looking.
This one was
seen a
the
lot worse,
hardest one I've ever tried to fit on one page. And I think that's always the hardest part, is fitting it on one page and having it large enough to read for someone who might have a smaller screen or like a phone or whatever they're using as their second monitor.
True.
That's by far the hardest part. So this is the hardest one that I've done this way. And I think this is
I've seen multinational companies put out significantly worse drawings than that. Right?
I appreciate it.
Oh no, I mean I've been there. Don't worry about it.
I think this is pretty closely tied for the hardest part on the site. I think it only loses by technicality because it doesn't have enough submissions to have an average. So if someone wants to give this
an interesting
a try,
part, I might go for it. Yeah. Well,
so what is the average time on this part here? Let's see.
That's a nice part for a video, actually.
There we go.
Who were those guys?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Who knows?
I mean,
let's see, leaderboard. So yeah, we've got 13 minutes, 14 minutes by Professional Doofus on Alibre Design Pro and Expert. And then 20 minutes and 70 minutes. So Ex Machina, you got to beat me at almost 14 minutes, which
that's interesting. I like the leaderboard, but I also like the software and where the software pegs on that.
Yep. And that's one. And another one, that sounded like a challenge.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge. And a challenge for all Alibre users. If you go to Stats for Nerds, guys, this is unacceptable. All you Alibre guys, we got to change this entry and this entry.
And this one. Yeah.
Because I have to look
with the slowest times, I don't think you can change that. I think that's by design.
I wasn't going to mention anything
somebody
like
starts unless somebody starts using FreeCAD. Sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
I would have thought OpenSCAD would have been the slowest time, right?
No, FreeCAD still.
That does tie in to something that is not released yet. Like Joseph and I were saying, we do have a video coming out on my channel here in a little bit. I don't know when I'll be done editing it, but there are a bunch of available options for submitting what CAD software you are using, including FreeCAD, OpenSCAD, Build123D, all those things. So no matter what CAD package you're on, it's on there. Sorry to turn this into a plug. Didn't mean to, but They're all on there. So whatever CAD package you wanna try, they're all on there.
And actually, that's a great resource for when you're learning the software, right? Um, for full context, Tutol Toby was the first guy who did a set of drawings like that, and now those drawings are behind a paywall, most of them. And Adam is doing it for free, and it is a great resource. I mean, if you go through all of these models, by the end of it, you definitely know how to design, right? And if you push yourself a bit and be in the middle of the leaderboard, then you're at least average, which is nothing to scoff at in a professional skill, right?
We're also going to start getting. I've put a couple of them here. I need to go back and do the other couple, but I've also been sent some models by Joseph. So if we want to do model a part that Joseph has designed, and these last two are his designs, and I'll be putting
exhaust flange
more of his.
Well, I mean,
as well. So we got.
Is that off the Supra? I kind of looks like an old Japanese exhaust flange, man. I don't know.
That's funny. I used to work in the exhaust industry, and so it's just one from memory.
Oh, you did?
Well,
it kind of looks like so. When I was born, my father used to rally a KE25 Corolla. That kind of looks like the exhaust flanges on that. So, anyway.
Stay tuned.
Yep.
Right.
Actually, it was a TE25. And if anybody in the chat knows the difference, then you're just as sad as I am. Sorry.
Any other questions? Any other questions on Alibre? Any other questions on V29 or weldments?
The drawing is not rigged because he offered a taco to hungry people, but still no go, which is true.
Any
there you go.
Any other questions about tacos or islands in Greece?
Or cats?
Yeah.
Would Alibre consider click and drag as well as click and click when sketching?
Okay.
Would this be click and drag a line?
I'm thinking that's what he means if you're used to click and drag rather than click and then click again at the end.
I think he means the selection box, right? Adam, we're on the same page. I think he means the selection box. So you drag to the right, select everything in the box, drag to the left, select everything that intersects with the box. Some software, instead of clicking and dragging to make these boxes, you can go click, and it makes the box. I genuinely do not know.
So yes, like making a rectangle.
Yeah. So I genuinely do not know, but it's definitely worth putting in a feature request for sure.
And I don't know if this is what is meant, but you can hold Alt and do a lasso select for things.
That's good.
Yeah, that's actually very good to know. Yeah.
It sounds like something that definitely can go into a feature request if you're looking to
for sure
change the behavior of like how to make like a center rectangle or something like that. So if I do a rectangle on like the XY plane, yeah. So right now it's click and then click again when you're done, rather than click and then drag. That's not a thing. So maybe something for a feature request, because that sounds like something that could easily be put into like the keyboard shortcuts and your mouse options for like pan and rotate and tilt and all that kind of stuff.
Although Adam makes a good point there. I've gone around a few of the restrictions of the sketching environment by using macros with my mouse, right? You can get a lot of things done with a proper macro. For example, imprinting in the sketch environment, which Alibre does not have, and it has advantages and disadvantages having imprinting in the sketch environment. But I get around that by having a mouse macro. So,
good to know.
I just got a message from one of the developers. There was a question about, can you show physical welds in weldments?
Yeah.
So not one of the highest priorities for the dot release. Maybe in the dot release, maybe not, but it looks like it's in the plan for sure in subsequent releases at minimum. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, Joseph, I thought the viewer actually meant in any assembly, not just the weldments.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if it is added in the weldments, then I would assume it's easier to make available in the assembly environment as well, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's probably the tool that I've used the least when I was working professionally with SolidWorks. It's really like, I mean, because that's something that you would annotate in the drawing, right? And
Yeah.
it'll be a lot better. You have a lot more information going through the drawing than just an artifact on the screen on the 3D, right?
Yeah.
But still.
Well, I like that suggestion. If I'm changing the subject again, of that click and drag rectangle. So I wanna look into that and see what we can do.
Sounds really nice, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few other selection options that I'm gonna potentially expose my lack of knowledge here, but clicking and dragging in one direction versus another direction when you're selecting things can often yield a different result. So if you click and drag left, you can select a single line, you know, that's within the selection box. But if you click and drag right, you can click, it selects anything touching the selection box. That was something else.
I think it's actually the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might be. It might be.
Yeah. But yeah.
Looks like it's.
And actually, that was inherited from AutoCAD guys back in the 80s, right? That's the first software that did it, and it's become an industry standard. So
it's a great time saver.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Well, is that it for the questions? Oh, come on, guys. We've only been at this for 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yeah. No more questions? Come on.
You guys aren't cutting out that early, are you?
We've been going for ages. Well, one of these days, I mean, have some pretty cool live gaming at the end of one of these, just for the heck of it.
Oh yeah, for sure, guys, for sure. I'm really up for it. I told you guys, I play Warframe, right? Find me.
Got you. Let's do it.
This is a good one from Cow Tools. Some time ago, I mentioned it's bad to move features in the design tree, and you were going to research any update. There were internal ID number that gets messed up. Yes, so I actually talked to a developer about this, and there is an internal ID associated with the part file itself. And the developer told me that there is not an internal ID associated with individual features in the tree. So you can move as much as you like. It won't mess up an internal ID. The only thing that might get messed up is, you know, if you have one feature dependent on another feature and you move it prior, then it'll break. But there's not anything that can't get fixed by reordering the tree again. So that answers your question.
Yeah, you should know, Cow Tools, you should know that this is true for any parametric CAD system from Alibre to CATIA, right? It is very, very possible that you move a feature back, you make some changes, and you will, you know, add or subtract some surfaces. When you do that by moving the feature in the timeline, it is more likely to mix up the topology, right? And get some features and break some features because they are now referencing another surface than, you know, they used to. That is one of FreeCAD's main issues. They kind of solved it, kind of didn't. It is an issue for every CAD system, though, right? For Alibre, for Creo, for SolidWorks, for all of them. Alibre is particularly robust in that, but, you know, I have come across instances where I did that and I did mess up the topology in some really weird, you know, cases. So just be aware of that.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're able to break and move forward, but fortunately, it won't break anything more than what you see on the screen. That's a great follow-up. Thank you. All right. Well, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Costas.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to reiterate that it's a valid strategy in Alibre as well, moving features in the tree, right? I call it time traveling, and when I'm teaching CAD to people, I just teach them what it can do because it's very useful sometimes. It's like it's just that in the 6 years that I've been using, is it 6? I think it's 4 that I've been using Alibre. There are a couple of cases where I did it because I was being lazy and I thought it'd be a cheeky move. And in 1 or 2 of those cases, it broke something. But that's about it, right? It's not a big deal. You can do that,
If you want to see it
99.9%.
used well, we do show off the feature kind of towards the end of our Crash Bandicoot Crystals in CAD video.
Yeah, we
did
do
use
actually.
it quite at the
Yeah.
end. So if you want to see it used well and reliably, that is one place we used it without issue.
That's true.
So.
Good call there, Adam. Yep.
I feel like I'm plugging our channels a lot. I apologize.
Yeah, come on.
Well, I got to say thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, guys.
You guys are the real MVP. And until next time, we're gonna, I think Fridays now. So 2 weeks from today, join us for another Helpdesk Live.
And if you're on Eastern time, remember we're now an hour later as well. So instead of noon, we're at 1 now on Eastern time.
There you go.
Or anyone else that has a time change in there.
I see another one. Is there a good way to change an angle that a copied sketch figure can be rotated when pasting back in the sketch? That's an interesting one. I think if you fully constrain the sketch,
you can do that. No. You can do that with a paste stamper. You just need to prep it properly. But I don't think we've got time for me to show you now. What you need to know there, Bill, is tacos are nice. After that, you need to know that when you're using the paste stamper, right? When you copy with a base point, then you can use a paste stamper. And when you stamp what you copied, you also stamp the constraints and dimensions. So if you have an angle dimension there, you can stamp it, and then you can change those. So you can, for example, you're copying a square and you're picking up the dimensions as well, and you stamp it, and then you can change those dimensions and make a different square. That's a really powerful use of the paste stamper, right? And you can do all sorts of stuff for that with that.
Very nice.
Used the paste stamper so much since you pointed that out, Costas.
Yeah, it's a huge tool. It's very good,
right?
Yeah.
You should do a whole video on the paste stamper.
Guess where I learned about the paste stamper, right? Guess where I did. It's official Alibre channel, and Joseph's got a great, amazing video on it.
That guy
I might do another
there.
one as well. Yep. Yeah, that one. The good-looking one. There you go.
That's a screen grab.
That's a screen grab. It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it?
No, none of you make a photo of that and post it on your own channels, okay?
That's gonna be my new profile picture.
But look, we all have our screen grab moments in this. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining in. You guys rock, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.